All right, we are live on YouTube, and let me get some separate conversations to make sure you both are coming through clear.
Okay, get my right position. Testing 1, 2, 3. Is that good?
Yeah, that's a start. Okay, can you hear this, Charlie?
Squirrel! Yeah, I certainly can.
Okay. All right, Amber, what's up?
Hello, how's it going? All the dials and pegs working out, or are they all trying to hide from everything you're trying to do to them?
No, everything seems to be working. It's all coming together. We have 3 people watching us on YouTube.
Excellent.
At least according to the stats at the moment. Stats at the moment, we'll have 3 people watching us live. We'll see how much entertainment we can get out of this when we hit noon.
Yours says 3, mine says 2.
Well, the number was 3, and then it was 4, now it's 2 again. So it's bouncing around. YouTube's busy shadow banning us because they don't like me.
Yeah, nobody likes you. It's okay though.
Yeah, well, what can I say?
Can I put on the? Can I watch the YouTube video?
You can.
It won't cause any.
It won't cause any issues whatsoever. To just add
issues,
you to the, add you to the count of the people that are currently watching.
Okay.
Just make sure you mute it because of the 30-second delay. It gets really confusing when you forget to mute it.
Okay, now the one thing too, I got to share a screen. Let's see if you can.
I think when you share the screen, it will share with all
just
of
a shadow banning. That's I can.
There you go. Can you see the screen there, Charlie? Hello.
Charlie?
Hello.
Can you see the shared screen coming through Discord?
Ooh. Oh yes, I can see that. Yeah.
Okay, you're gonna want that because there's a 30-second delay at YouTube.
Right.
So, by the time we
get YouTube and watch that.
Yeah, you can silence YouTube and watch the screen that I'm sharing so that you can see what we've got going.
Okay.
As far as the rest of the notes go, you'll be all right for the most part because you've only got a couple of parts in there that you already know your own notes for your plugins. But we've got you listed. Well, you can say them in any order you want. But when we get to the plugins, it'll be mine, Amber's, and then yours, and then mine, Amber's, and yours.
Okay, sounds good.
And feel free to pop in and comment anywhere you want.
I shall try.
Yeah.
Try to be humorous, you know.
So what's it like over there, the other side of the continent and the pond?
What, weather-wise or life-wise?
Weather-wise.
Everything.
You know.
Well, weather-wise, it's okay. Actually, got blue sky, which is a rare thing. I'm in northern England, so actually very near Manchester, so it's normally raining.
Ah.
But life is actually pretty good at the moment. We're all getting back to normal again. So everybody's got their Bluetooth injection done, so we're all being tracked by the government now.
Oh, they're being tracked
we're ready to go.
Everybody's being tracked anyway. The tracking device is in your back pocket. I mean, they didn't.
Yeah, everything.
You.
Yeah.
Everyone was carrying a phone for tracking.
Usually.
Well, we have cameras. I don't know how it is in Canada. We have cameras everywhere, which is good and bad, I suppose. You know.
Well,
we're not too far behind you.
Yeah, we're not too far behind. All right, we got 4 minutes, 5 minutes. We got coming down on 6 minutes. We still got a little time before we hit the music. So what we'll do is we'll come out of have a little bit of music that comes in before it, the last 5 minutes into it, and then we come out of that and head into the show.
Are you going to sing? Do I need to turn the volume down?
You might want to. I do sing. I do sing. As I say, it's really good music and bad singing because, I like the song, so sometimes I sing to it. Depends on my mood.
Yeah, but Charlie, the bonus about being on here with him is you can't actually hear him very well. You hear the music much more than you hear him.
That sounds good then. Yeah.
There you go. It's like overpowering karaoke.
Yeah. What's really funny though is when I was a kid, I used to ask my dad to sing to me. I actually liked his voice when I was a kid.
Yeah. Well, I couldn't sing back then either, so I don't know what was wrong with you.
We get confused when we're young, we don't know these things.
Hearing problems. All right.
How was it over there? I've been to Vancouver. It was about 10 years ago now, I think.
Yeah.
I only remember the steam clock.
Oh, that thing is so cool.
Yeah, that was. I remember there being one or two beggars on the streets, which was a bit of a shock actually. And then there was a revolving restaurant. Is there a restaurant where I think my mother lost a handbag there nearly? Is that in Vancouver? I'm not sure. We went all over Calgary and Toronto. There was one place where
if you went to Toronto, Toronto's where the revolving restaurant's at.
That could have been it.
I
remember putting it down, and before she knew it, it was halfway around the room.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I have to ask, what is a revolving restaurant?
It's the Space Needle lookalike.
Oh, okay.
It's basically Toronto's Space Needle. So, all right.
Oh, okay.
We're coming up. It is music time, and we'll let the music and take us right to it.
Don't claim to know your story, don't even have my own. In the search for glory, gone with them sacred rules of old. They went missing down Highway 49. Devils at the crossroads, sitting doing time. Preacher man discovered, passed down from saint to sage, like a kind-hearted lover who's been lost on this stage. Went missing down Highway 49. Devils at the crossroads, sitting doing time. Not saying they're right or wrong. I ain't no Texan dancer, Lord knows where I belong. Went missing down Highway 49. Devils at the crossroads, sitting doing time. Junkie and the chigger just seen who done the crime. Captain pulled the trigger. Who's doing time? They went missing down Highway 49. Devils at the crossroads. Is he yours or is he mine?
Definitely mine.
Story, don't even have my own. In our search for glory, gone with them sacred rules of old. We're missing down Highway 49. Devils at the crossroads, sitting doing time. Devils at the crossroads, doing fine. Just sitting doing time.
All right. It is time. Off we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for WordPress plugins A to Z, not Z.
Unconstrained Energy It's episode 515, and we have plugins for blocks, stopping spam, accessibility, accounting, scripts, and ClassicPress options, all coming up on WordPress plugins from A to Z. WordPress. It's the most popular content management and website solution on the internet. And with over 80,000 plugins to choose from, how do you separate the junk from the gems? Join us for a weekly, unrehearsed conversation about the latest and greatest in WordPress plugins. This is WordPress plugins from A to Z. Well, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you happen to be hiding out there on the globe today. Coming to you direct from the Brewery Overlook in beautiful Victoria, British Columbia, Canada. And with me, I have the ever lovely
Amber overall.
and a special guest today. Joining us for the show is...
Charlie Moss.
There you go. I say, that's your cue, Charlie.
Is that it?
So we do have a special guest on the show. We have Charlie, who's one who's been doing all our contest stuff for us for the last 6 to 8 months, and he's here to talk about the main plugin for our recent contest. We'll get to all that later, but we do have a great show for you. A couple other quick things before we get started. We are now at 64 weeks. The count goes on, but there is a plan. Life keeps moving forward. The show must go on. Get out your popcorn, sit back, and enjoy. And don't forget to hang around to the end of the show for the Q&A segment for Amber. And for those listening on the podcast itself, remember, we split that Q&A in two. Half of it ends up on the podcast that goes out for people to download for their apps. The other half, you got to go catch it on the YouTube channel. So make sure you stick around for that. All right. It is off to, for me to...
Thank you for sharing, John. Now get down from that soapbox.
Sync.
All right, so sorry. This is number 23 of 52 episodes for 2021. It's episode 515, and the summer is well and truly working its way into our daily lives. No more feeling like a zombie for the most part, except for those inevitable cloudy days, which we get a lot of on the island. Although, and it's funny because some of those cloudy days feel like they're going to be a thunder lightning storm, but those things never actually rear their heads very often here. Kind of sucks. I wish we had more here. I remember when I was in New Zealand once, there was this amazing storm and it was rolling over the water. So cool looking. I wish we got that here. Anyways, despite us never really getting cool thunder lightning storms here on the island, we do get pretty good weather. And I recommend you go out and take advantage of it while it lasts. Spend some time in the great outdoors with a friend, or just on your own. Turn off the media and give yourself a break. No radio, no internet, just relaxation of the mind and exercise of the body. If you can't make it outside for whatever reason, try just opening a window and turning off the media for about an hour every day. Read one of those books you likely got kicking around just collecting dust. I'll bet you a beer it helps. Rinse and repeat as often as needed.
Absolutely. And it is time for...
Please, can everybody be quiet? Please be quiet. Shut up! Thank you. And now the WordPress news with John Overall.
Mostly Amber now. Take it away, kid.
Yeah, it is mostly me these days, isn't it?
It is. We need to get that re-recorded.
So this last Tuesday, we had a bit of an internet issue. It only lasted for about an hour, but everyone's really freaking out about it. The culprit appears to be the CDNs, content delivery networks, that are supported by Fastly. And I guess they support the CDNs for places like Amazon and Deliveroo, and that hour is probably rather costly for those people.
Yep. It would have been extremely costly for them.
Sorry, I started hearing an echo and it distracted me.
Echo?
Yeah, it was weird. I only heard a couple of my words echo.
Oh, okay.
It was... So, yeah.
All right, so we'll take this article and we'll run with this story for a minute. Yes, the internet did go down. It actually went down again today, this morning.
Oh, did it?
There was some, I caught little bits and pieces of it this morning too. I saw the most amazing tweet that went out about this one that went down. One dude went out and said, "Yeah, sorry, folks. It turns out that my cell phone was a major node in Fastly's network, and I went out to dinner and turned my phone off. Sorry, I didn't mean to cause so much damage." Never mind. You don't get it.
No.
A node where the data was running through his phone for the network that went down. He turned his phone off. No more connection. We've got to explain a joke. It doesn't work. All right.
I know.
Let's move along to the next art news article. Take it away, kid.
To be fair, I've been told it's funnier when I don't get jokes. So
it's funnier at everyone else because they're laughing at you and no longer the joke. Yes, it is funnier for the rest of us.
I'm willing to be the butt of the joke so long as people are happy.
Mm-hmm.
So next one is Mayana with Tips Tuesday. One of her topics this week caught my attention especially. It's the internet burning throws off speed testing. Here she talks about how, due to the worsening cybersecurity situation, is affecting her ability to run security tests on the various sites she's working on.
Mm-hmm.
So I found that very interesting that the cybersecurity issue is getting so bad that it's starting to interfere with regular everyday work rather than just once in a while.
Well, the internet has been odd for the last couple of weeks, I've noticed. So
it's been a few months, actually.
I've only noticed in the last couple of weeks, maybe I had a better connection than you.
Oh, most definitely.
I don't know. How's the internet over there for you, Charlie?
Normally it's okay. It has been a bit funny here as well, but I live in the countryside, so it's it's still a bit prehistoric over here. But yeah, it's like carrying water some days. It might be quicker to go to the shops than it is to buy online. But it's not too bad. We didn't have any problems due to this, but these attacks are happening all the time. They're incredible now. I think everybody's owning some form of bot network and is attacking somebody.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I was told you can go online now and you can pay for like £5 on the darknet and you can have somebody point their botnet and basically bring down your website.
Oh yeah. It's getting cheap to hire hackers for hire now.
Yeah, it's super cheap, and there's so many scripts out there. I mean, the darknet, even though they brought down some of the big trading sites, but still there are so many people selling scripts, script kitties, I think they call them, don't they? People that create and sell these things, and they can do incredible damage just by aiming one or two press one or two codes that trigger attacks on major websites to bring them down.
Hemdian has a little spot on this. It's because there's only a few content delivery networks, or the CDNs, and they represent a weak spot, all the eggs in one basket kind of thing. There's a suggestion companies like Cloudflare need to be broken apart to spread the risk. Yeah, it might help, but it might not. Yeah, it's a lot of people are dependent on a few companies to do all their content delivery now.
Yeah, that does seem like a rather bad idea.
Well, that's the way the internet had evolved. I still do it a little differently for my sites, but that's just the way I evolved. I decided to stay more independent and not depend on major companies for all of my stuff.
Well, the internet's still in its infancy, isn't it? I mean, we've only had it for such a short length of time. It's all got to develop, and things in protection have got to start changing completely.
Yeah.
Let's take another couple of news articles out of this one. Which ones do you want next, kid?
Well, let's go for. Let's just go to the next one. What's coming for Elementor in 2021?
Well,
I'm actually kind of excited about this because Elementor is what we mainly use right now.
Yep.
And there's going to be mega menus and a kits library, page transitions. And to top it all off, they're having a sale for their birthday.
Yeah, I don't need to buy a sale. I got in before they raised their prices, and I've locked my license in before they cranked their prices up.
Yeah, still, I think that their plans and what they're bringing in is actually a pretty good idea.
Yeah, well, it is good that they're expanding things out and doing a few things. Looks like their birthday sale has ended. So, hey, for those of you that didn't get it, too late.
Uh-oh. Well, Another one is Jetpack deploys a forced update. Now, I think I might have mentioned this last week. I know it's been going on for a bit, but one of the issues that happened because of Jetpack doing the forced update is for people who actually had their auto updates turned off, their stuff was still forcibly updated, and it didn't even update it to the most current version. It just updated one step, so that there's been some serious issues going on with Jetpack deploying the forced updates last week.
Yet another reason why I recommend against Jetpack, and why if I inherit a client with Jetpack, I quickly talk them out of it and remove it from their site and replace it with better plugins.
Yeah, definitely.
I have disliked Jetpack since it was created, simply because this isn't the first time Jetpack has done this.
Really?
Yeah, they did. It's been a couple of years since they forced in some updates and broke stuff, and they do that from time to time. They regularly, from my perspective, if you dig back, you'll see articles on how Jetpack has broken stuff in numerous times over the years.
Oh,
that's because they try to be a one size fits all shop, where they take Jetpack as the base plugin and they cram in dozens of plugins into it. It was the mistake I made a couple of years ago when I used to get themes that had plugins built into them, and I quickly discovered that's the wrong thing to do. You know, when you have it all in one, if you're going to use the plugins, use plugins, but they need to be separate and apart so you can do proper testing when you need to, or figure out when something breaks. You can take one component out and not lose everything in the process. There's too much crammed into her. I mean, they've got lots of great tools in there. I'd love to use some of the tools if I could use them separately, but some of my favorite plugins that were made have been deployed inside Jetpack, so I quit using them.
Kind of reminds me of those extra fancy multi-tools where they have all these cool tools, but you try to use any of them, and everything else it's too in the way for you to use any of the tools on those cool multi-tools.
That's a pretty good description of Jetpack. It's a pretty good description of it. All right, let's take one or two more.
Oh, the last one I want to bring forward is original dark mode developer relaunches the plugin after the apparent cash grab of the new owners. I kind of like this.
I caught that article.
I think it's awesome that the original developer, he didn't like what the new owners were doing, so he just made a dark mode too.
Yeah, so you could bring back the just plain dark mode for those that only wanted dark mode and they didn't want all the extra crap added on there.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was a pretty slick thing to do. He'll be more careful who he sells his plugin to next time.
Yeah. And Nutmeg WordPress theme. I thought maybe you would be interested in this for one of your sites. It's a great theme for food or recipe blog. They have the free version, and they have now released Nutmeg Plus for those interested. It's an entire theme designed specifically for food and recipes, which I thought was really cool.
Does it have the recipe plugin built into it?
That I don't know. It wasn't overly clear about that, but it shows you. I think it's like one of the pre-made pages that you can just build off of.
Yeah, well, that's interesting. No, we don't really use themes anymore. We use the base stuff from Elementor and expand it from there. So I've pretty much quit using themes. I used to use themes all the time, but sometimes I'll use a theme or a theme base for an idea, and I don't know. Depends on how well it would work with Elementor to expand out from whatever base it's set at. As to whether it'd be useful. All righty. Well, then,
on the extras. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. On the extras.
In the extras, I just have some cybersecurity, how hackers are manipulating, beginner's guide to creating static sites, SurveyMonkey rebranding themselves as Momentive, and a guide on how to choose the right Linux distribution if you're thinking of moving over to Linux.
Oh, that would be an interesting one. SurveyMonkey, why are they rebranding to something as obscure as Momentive?
From what I understand, they're trying to make more money.
Well,
And so
yeah.
they're like charging per response, and they're trying to be more of a consumer thing rather than a just survey thing.
Okay.
Again, the article isn't overtly clear. It just kind of does a basic, well, they want to make more money. And it's like, okay, well, yeah, I get that, but
Yeah.
it's one of those weird articles I had a harder time understanding than I should have. And it wasn't because of geek speak. It was just because it was like they're using lawyer speech.
Yeah, they weren't making sense. Okay. Well, that makes sense. And before we move on, Hemdian had a comment on the dark mode thing. Surprised the dark mode dev hadn't signed a no-compete clause when he sold dark web. Yeah, it depends on whether they'd want him to no-compete, but it's really hard to get a no-compete for plugin developers.
Apparently when he sold it, he'd been out of the game for like over 2 years, and he only came back just because he saw what they did to his plugin.
Mm-hmm.
So they might not have thought they needed to.
Yep, could be. Could very well be. All right, it is off, and we're going to talk about the important part of the show, which is...
It's time to donate to WP Plugins A to Z.
Absolutely. This show, value for value model, meaning if you're getting any value out of it, please give some value back. And that can be anything: time, talent, and treasure. We do like to sit here and talk about, first off, those that are supplying some talent to the show and discussing of this week's art in the show. And this week's art here comes to us again from Angel Lamu. And I kind of felt this was appropriate. I was having one of those days where I just wanted to explode. It's a nice picture. It looks like Mount St. Helens blowing apart. And he just stuck.
It kind of does.
It looks like Mount St. Helens to me. It could be any other volcano in the world, but it kind of reminds me of the Mount St. Helens blow. And he stuck our logo right in there, did a little fancy bits with the WP plugins. It's really kind of nice. I like the stuff Angel's doing. He's delivered another new piece I noticed in there, which wasn't quite appropriate for today. But if you do want to see what's being delivered in our artwork from the artists that are submitting, link is in the show notes. Just go to wppluginsaToZ.com/showart, and it will bring you right into the page of what is being delivered regularly. We've got a nice new one here with... another, I don't know, dude in a green hoodie. So, yeah, thanks a lot, Angel. We greatly appreciate the time you bring to us for talent in the artwork. And for those of you that want to supply art, just go to wppluginsaToZ.com/art and, become a quick member and submit your artwork up there, and your artwork will be preserved. Sooner or later, I'll get the time to bring in all the old artwork, which hasn't been entered into the galleries yet, and get the galleries all cleaned up. Also, for our executive producers out there, those that do provide money, which is always useful for the show, a big thank you to all producers who come in under $50. You know who you are. There's a few of you, a couple of bucks every week or once a month. We greatly appreciate the money. It never goes into our pocket, but it does minorly help offset expenses. And for anyone who donates $50 or more, get your name read out. Note for the show, all linked up in the show notes. It's a really great deal for you. It's a great way to buy a link on our website if you want to do that. And also, for those of you who have time, such as Charlie, who's joined us on the show today, he manages all our contests for us. And when we get to the contest, I'll let Charlie talk a little bit about the contest coming up later. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. So thank you, everyone.
I was actually going to suggest that you let Charlie do the contest.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. The less talking I do, the better. I want to do as little talking as possible these days.
Sounds good.
Do as little talking as possible these days. Also, one more big thank you for those of you who hire us after listening to the show. That's as good as donating to the show. And there's a lot of you out there that do that. If you ever want to shout out, I don't shout out my clients, but if you do want to shout out on the show, just let me know. I'll make sure you're acknowledged on the show also, that you found us in the show. But thank you very much for those that hire us after listening to the show or watching it on YouTube. All right, it is time we head off into what everyone shows up here for, into the depths and depravity of plugins for WordPress and ClassicPress occasions. All right, for ClassicPress options, again, we don't have any much this week. I've not had time for any ClassicPress stuff, and nobody's submitting any. If it continues like this much longer, I may have to push ClassicPress further aside, but so be it. It is what it is. We do have the same standard links in here, some must-have links, the forum links, some links to other bits and pieces for ClassicPress. If you're using it, go check it out and see what's there for you. But we do have WordPress plugins. And the first one I've got for you here right off the bat, and I will be having an interview with the developer of this. I'd scheduled an interview, but something came up for him and he missed the scheduled time. But I expect an interview real soon with him. This is a plugin called Finpose, and it was sent in by Oz Arslan, and it is a... I got static.
Oh, what's going on? That's strange. I hear static.
I do hear static.
Hello?
Yep. That's all right. That's okay.
Oh, it's gone.
Yeah, it's gone. I was just making.
I couldn't hear anything.
You couldn't?
It was the. It
Yeah,
was.
nothing.
What was that?
Okay.
Okay. All right. So anyway, this is an accounting plugin for WooCommerce. And it is a premium plugin. It's available at Code Canyon. It's $49, and it's an excellent plugin. He sent me a demo to check it all out. I installed it up on my WooCommerce site to see how it would do, and it is actually quite good. I rather enjoyed it. It makes it easy to get in there and track your costs, create your reports for your taxes and everything else you need. It also allows you to track bank accounts and spending accounts, so you can move money between the accounts. You know, it's an accounting program to allow you to track all your spending, your costs, how much money you're making, your profits, your losses, all of those things as you get them into your WooCommerce store. It's a perfect kind of thing for me because my WooCommerce store is relatively new. It doesn't have a lot of products. It might be a bit of work if you're integrating it into a well-established store, but if it's a new store, it's a really great tool for you to work with and to get it moving forward. I found it to be fantastic, and look out for the interview with the developer of this coming soon, and go check this one out. Finpose at finpose.com. Link for Code Canyons in the show notes, and it's called Finpose Accounting Plugin for WooCommerce, and I give it a 5 dragon rating.
It's a pity it's on Code Canyon because it seems they can't give away free licenses for competitions. I've tried a few developers. They go, oh, no, we're not allowed. We're not allowed to give you a free license. It causes problems. But it looks a really good piece of software there. I should check it out myself.
Yeah, well,
yeah, it does.
They give away the software. I don't know if I ever get a license for it. They give me the software on a regular basis, though.
From Code
that looks
Canyon?
like
Oh, yeah.
Well, I don't get it from Code Canyon.
That looks like a brilliant plugin.
It is a brilliant plugin, and I've liked the way it works. And so far, it's made it easy for me to create the reports for my taxes. I got to report to the government so they can so I can be their annual tax collector. So, all right, next up, that'd be you, kiddo.
Next up is my plugin, and it's Ally Kit, or A11Y if you prefer. This is actually a pretty cool plugin. It was designed for disabled people in mind. Like, it was designed with them in mind. And it's a CSS thing. So you have to be able to add the CSS class into your menu, and you do also need a menu in order for it to work, because I didn't have a menu on my testing one, and I turned it on. Everything went a really cool purple and black, but there was no controls. It is pretty cool, though. So yeah, you need a menu, and you need to be able to add it into your CSS yourself, into your menu. It looks really nice. Yeah, so you got it up there, and you're testing it out. You have to double click them in order for them to work in their testy thing.
Yeah.
But
keep talking. Keep talking about
making the font. I'm trying. You keep talking, I get distracted. There's making the font 30 times larger, change to dark mode, high contrast, low saturation. You can change the font to Comic Sans or Arial, and you can space out the letters for easier reading. It's a really great setup. Each option can be turned on or off through the menu. And there is a normal setting as well, so you can just not have it at all. very useful. I think it's a great idea. It's also useful for people who spend a lot of time on the computer. I tend to put everything into dark mode because I have a headache issue if I'm on the computer for too long. I think a lot of people have that issue. So totally free, works really well. I rate this at 5 dragons.
Okay, you're up, Charlie. Which one you
That's
got?
good. Let's go with flying scripts.
Okay.
Okay, so flying scripts. I think everybody who's ever run a test on one of the test sites, the Page Speed Insights or GT Metrics, has sort of seen that JavaScripts are one of the heaviest things that slow down the site. And there's many different versions, there's many different plugins which will help you with this, but this I've found to be one of the best ones. W Speed Matters is a website, and it's actually a group on Facebook as well. And they give lots of advice about how to speed up, and one of the people created this amazing little plugin. It's very lightweight. All you need to do is basically know the approximately the name of the script and put it into the list. You set your delay, your defer time. You have to defer it for so many seconds, and leave it to go, and it does it. It does it very well. It stops the JavaScript scripts running for a few seconds, which allows the rest of the page to load. And Google's happy about that. If you run Page Speed Insights without any form of defer on JavaScripts, it will actually tell you these one needs doing. So all you need to do is basically copy and paste the name of the JavaScript into the plugin, and away you go. I've used ElfSite on a few web pages, and that really can slow down the site. And so all I do is basically I keep a little log of all the different scripts and put them straight in, and you go from getting yellow to green very quickly.
Very nice.
So, and I give this a 5 dragon rating. Can I do the growl?
Oh, you can. Feel free. We'll have to get you to re-record that, and maybe.
Sounded more like indigestion, actually. I've always wanted to do it. Now. I've always another thing off my bucket list. That's good.
Excellent.
All right. The next one I've got for you. This is a very useful plugin, but you do have to do some coding for it. It's called I Order Terms, and it is a bit of an older plugin, and it's mostly for those that are developing and working out. But what it does is once it's in there, it allows you to go into the taxonomies for any of your custom post types you might have, and then create one of those little sorting menus at the top of the archive page for that thing. I've got it on one of my client sites, my corporate client sites, and so what we've done is we've used it on there for creating archives or sorting for different archive sections for all of their different custom post types. Very nice plugin. It does take a bit of work to get installed and work with, but once you get it in there, it can save you a lot of grief when you're wanting to be able to sort certain post types with the taxonomies that are included in it, or the categories. For those of you that are missing, not catching what I'm saying, you can use it for sorting out your categories. At any rate, a really great plugin, one to go check out. It's called I Order Terms, and I give it a 4 dragon rating.
That sounds very useful.
It is. You just got to do some work to make it work for you, which is why it's knocked down a little, because there's a lot of manual labor to that one.
And anything that's worth its salt is going to be harder. So the next one I have is Royal Elementor Addons. This is a brand new plugin, and I think it's really awesome. The widgets work really well, and the amount you get in the free version is fantastic. One of the things I really liked about it is that you can actually turn the widgets on and off individually. So you get a whole bunch of them, and when you get to the settings page, you can choose which ones you want. So if you only want one of those widgets from this package, you can turn the rest off and just have that one. And you can turn them off and on as you please. It's really useful. I've never seen that before. I don't know if is that normal, or?
I've only seen it in one or two other Elementor widget plugins. Which it
All right,
it
well,
does come in handy in that it by shutting them off, you're not sucking up resources loading them all.
hmm Really, really cool. And another thing it does, which I've also never seen, is it gives you the option to create your own templates. And then it also gives you the ability to fill in all the information for things like MailChimp in the settings of the plugin rather than putting the information in elsewhere. Not just MailChimp, there's other things too. Like you can set designs, you can set preferences for certain widgets. It's really cool. Lots of personalization capability. Very awesome. I rate. Unfortunately, it does have a pro version, so if it wasn't for the pro, I'd give it 5. I'm only rating it 4 dragons though.
Very good. Alrighty. This one's yours, Charlie.
Over to me again.
Yep.
This is okay. This is the big one. So I'm bringing now what we have as our giveaway for the next 2 weeks. So it's launched today. This will be the very first day that we're you can enter the competition. It was mentioned last week, and this is for Bloksy Pro. Now the generous guys at Bloksy, I asked them, just could you give me 1 license, and they said no. We'll give you 3. So they've given us the agency, the professional, and the personal. So we've got 3 licenses to give away, and I was given a little test license because I've never actually used the pro. I've just used the free one, but the pro one was actually much better than I thought. And I hadn't really given much time because I was a bit against Gutenberg for a while. I wasn't really getting into Gutenberg, and I thought, I'm going to stay with one of the many page builders that I own. And I think I own most of them: Bricks, Brizy, Elementor, Divi. I have them all. Unfortunately, I'm a shopaholic in those things, and it's I never use half of them, but I own them. And I tried this one today and really went deeper into it, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. This really is a super fast. So I'm taking a couple of sites and I'm starting to copy them now. And just the one site that I started to take from, I won't mention which of the builders, but and copied it to this to Bloksy. Immediately it had gone from a C, where I was struggling to get it higher. I was using every technique on that site to try and to build up speed. It had a lot of pictures. It was quite heavy. It went straight into just duplicating it to Bloksy, and I was getting basically A's across the board. There's green everywhere. I'd never seen so much green in my whole life without having to tweak. It was like a forest out there. It was incredible. I was amazed. And there's so many. It's because Gutenberg now is Gutenberg.
Yep.
I actually pronounced it wrong, but Gutenberg is now becoming so much more accessible. It's becoming so much easier to work with, and now sites like themes like this, like Bloksy and maybe Cadence and Astra, are starting to take over. But this has been absolutely brilliant, and I was thinking of entering the competition myself under a pseudonym, because I was really thinking I've got to win this, but then I thought, no, morally I can't do this. So I have written to them saying, is there any discount vouchers that we could offer the guests, offer the listeners? So maybe I might be able to persuade them. For people who don't win the competition, we might be able to get a discount voucher to get 10% off or 20% off. I'll see where we go. But it really is worth having a look at this. And if you use Bloksy, if you use Brizy or you use Elementor or you use Beaver Builder, you can just use this as the base, and then you can use your builder on top of it. But if you want the true speed and the real power of it, then it's good just to work with Gutenberg. So I give this definitely a 5 dragon rating.
Excellent.
That sounds awesome.
Oh,
Sorry, we'll let you roar. I'm so used to snacking the button after that.
That's great.
We got to get you.
So I'm not really telling about the competition. So if they go to basically wppluginsa2z.com/giveaways and then click the button there, that'll lead them to the page where you can enter the competition. So it's going to be going over for 2 weeks now. So we're announcing today. John will repeat it next week, and then we'll have the draw on the second week. And like I said before, you could win one of the prizes. The value of the agency one is $299, and this gives you unlimited sites for a lifetime. So
Nice.
you've got your even if you haven't had a agency before, you can actually start producing. It's such a whether it be an investment or if you're lucky enough to win, it's really quite something. Unlike Elementor, which you have to pay every year.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing a lot of these themes, because we're seeing now prices creep up, I'm guessing these lifetime deals might not be as you might not see them as often.
No,
in the
you won't.
future as yeah.
And what I've discovered, like I have a couple of lifetime licenses because I've been I've been a shopaholic for years, and even the ones I'm grandfathered in on some of them. And some companies, almost all those companies eventually have to do away with their lifetime licenses because they need to have continuous income coming in. One lifetime license is only good for, one sale, but they got to keep getting sales to stay in business.
Yeah, I remember a few groups on FaceCrack, as you call it. And a lot of people have been they feel ripped off, and of course you do when you've bought it, because companies literally can't continue.
Yep.
I mean, I bought things on a few websites and received emails saying, sorry, it doesn't exist anymore.
Yep.
So companies have got to be a little bit careful.
Yep. They got to be careful in how they do it.
watchful.
I've had companies I quit dealing with because they pulled my lifetime license, and they had other stuff I bought, but I didn't mind them charging stuff. The problem comes in is like, I was your early supporter. I got your lifetime license. You should at least honor that. And there's been a lot of companies that have honored it. It's like I have a license with Gravity Forums that goes back 12 years. I'm not going to say how much I paid for it, but it's dirt cheap. And I still get everything that is offered that they now charge $400 a year for. So
that's good. Yeah, it's good to get right in early. Yeah.
Well, but they were one of the companies that honored their early licenses, provided you never let your subscription expire. If you let
that's the important bit.
That's the important bit, not let the subscription expire. If you let the subscription expire, that means you have to buy back in at the current price, which is fair enough. That's a fair enough deal. All righty. Well, thanks a lot for that. And this show is still currently brought to you by... Are you tired of the same old web hosting? Not having the resources you need to run your website properly? Having a lack of control? Then you need johnoverall.com web hosting, providing you with all the resources you need to smoothly run your WordPress website or ClassicPress website. With strict limits on the number of clients allowed per server, johnoverall.com provides high-quality, fast server performance. Visit johnoverall.com for web hosting that won't slow you down. Absolutely. Nothing but the best and finest hosting. I even got clients over there on the little island right next to Europe. I got clients all over the globe, actually, but offer fantastic hosting. Saves you time, headache, and hassle. So make sure you check me out. And my server right now, the last server I'm going to do for a long time, is filling up fast. When it runs out of space, I won't take any new clients.
A little island next to Europe. You're talking about England. Britain,
I'm talking about Britain. Talking about the British Isles.
Straight over my head again. Whoosh! I was like thinking, where is he talking about? And it's here.
Yeah, I actually have a client. I don't think he lives in Manchester. He lives a little south of you. So at least if my geography is correct on where Manchester's at, I can't remember.
Upper middle bit.
Yeah. Yeah. So he's down further south. He's close. Manchester's north of London, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So he's down near London. So, at any rate, but I've got a client still over in Australia. A lot of my clients are North America. I used to have clients in France and in Africa, but those ones there have left a long time ago. All right. Well, this is the part here where we usually talk about the contest, but Charlie did such a great job of talking about it already. But I do want to play the contest bumper to jingle because I just love it.
So do I.
Contest, WordPress plugins from A to Z.
Another little point for folks. This was given to us by Steve Goodtime, Brant Matthews, real jingle creators. They actually do this sort of thing professionally. And great couple of people. And thank you very much to Steve Goodtime, Brant Matthews. Really appreciate your time on that. And I do like to say thank you again. This time I get to say it thanks in person, Charlie, for all the hard work you do bringing the contest to the show. It's a lot of work. I know it is. I did it for a long time, and I didn't do it very well, and you do it so well. Thank you very much for all that you do in for that.
Well, we're gonna have a lot
Definitely.
more in. We're gonna have a lot more in the future. So keep your eyes open.
And the links are in the show notes, folks. Go click the links for Bloksy, or just go as Charlie said, wpplugins.com, contest giveaways. I got to create a good proper short link for that. I do have pretty links installed. That's another plugin I bought way back in the beginning, and I got a lifetime license for it. And another company that honored the lifetime license when they changed. All right. Well, this is where we cover up and close out a couple of things in here, simply because we need to close out the plugins and a couple of tidy ends, because we're going to go into the Q&A segment with Amber, and partway through that, we play the closing credits for the show. Come back from those, and for those still on the YouTube channel, you get to hear all the questions, and the questions today are rather entertaining. You'll rather enjoy them. So I covered up this episode, the disabled WP registration. Nope, I didn't cover that one. I covered the Finpose accounting plugin for WooCommerce, which I gave a 5 to, and the iOrder terms, which I gave a 4 to.
And I covered Royal Elementor add-ons, which I gave a 4 rating, and Ally Kit, which I gave a 5 rating.
And I spoke about flying scripts, which I definitely gave a 5 dragon rating for, and also the amazing Bloksy Pro, which is obviously a 5 as well.
Okay, and a couple of quick reminders. I do have a bit of a meetup. I haven't put it into the calendar or anything. For those of you listening, if you want to join us at the Oasis for a WordPress, Rogues Tavern, big birthday party meetup, reach out to me via email, john@wppro.ca. I'll get you the address. It's going to be on July 10th out at the Oasis, and it's going to be a good time out in the garden, up on the newly completed deck and the fire pit, and grill up some food, have some beers. Nice, wonderful afternoon at the Oasis. So reach out to me. I'll get you the info on how you can get there. I'm not going to put it into our calendar. And, of course, if you're not getting enough of Amber and I, you can join us on our new show, our live stream, Shooting the Shit at the Rogues Taverns, every Tuesday evening at 8 o'clock, where we talk about all the things we can't talk about here. And that pretty much it. It is time for...
It's question and answer time.
With Amber.
With Amber! I will add it in at the end on that. Yeah.
All right.
If anyone out there has any questions they'd like to have answered on the show, feel free to send them in to me at amber@wppro.ca, and I will get them up here. Today I'm going to be asking your opinions about some things. So the first thing I have here is, what do you think is going on with the uptake in cybersecurity? The issues that we've been seeing.
You want to take it first there, Charlie?
Oh, am I in the question and answer? Oh, great.
Oh yeah, you're part of this, man. Go. I'm not gonna waste having you be able to get in here and tell her what for.
What? Sorry, because I just disappeared slightly. So what is the with all the cyber security attacks? You mean?
Yeah, what do you think is going on with, like, what do you think the issues are that have been causing all the uptake in cybersecurity attacks? Like,
well, I mean, it's first of all, I think there's so much. Oh, you mean not the hackers? Or you mean the foreign governments? You mean are we into conspiracy theories now? I've got a few if you'd like to know some. What? I think the hackers have. I mean, the people are. There's so much easy money to be made out of sites. You know, with this, you've got ransomware, you've got DDoS attacks on websites, and nowadays there's just so few. There's so many people doing these things, and so few people investigating. You know, the chance of being caught, especially if you use the right tools, you can get away with murder. Now with Bitcoin and various currencies, you can get paid for doing it anonymously. So, yeah, I think it's quite easy to do, and that's yeah.
Well, what I think about the uptake in cybersecurity issues, what the reality is, from my perspective, is there's no uptake in the issues. The issues have always been there. What's happening is there's more people taking advantage of the issues. And it's easier than ever to take advantage of the issues. If you're half intelligent and you can connect a computer to the dark web, which of course isn't that hard, you can find tons and tons of scripts there. And the scripts can be deployed and just go out there and wreak havoc. And a lot of that is occurring. The other problem occurs is, you know, I've seen an uptick in attacks on my servers, and most of the time they're not even attacking existing accounts. They're attacking non-existing accounts on the server. They're just running massive dictionary attacks at it, and they're coming from so many hundreds of IP addresses at a time. I end up having to deploy DDoS stuff constantly. And even the data centers I have my servers in, the data centers have a layer of protection in front of my servers, which they deploy on a regular basis. And it's just insane. But from my perspective, what's going on is it's just they're looking for ways to make money. I mean, when they hack into a server nowadays, most of the time they're not even looking for anything in there except for whatever private information they can get, users' names, email addresses, you know, or if they can get into a website, turn it into a spam machine. You know, there's really no other value in it. And personal data is not as valuable as it used to be on the internet, so they have to collect more of it. You know.
Yeah, and of course, as now WordPress is, they say, about 41% of the internet. You know, when you've set up a program to attack one particular service, one particular script, then you know you're hitting such a vaster majority of the internet. Then it's you know, you are going to be open to attack all the time, I think.
Yep. And it's
I didn't even think about that.
It's like, it's surprising that people don't realize it. It's kind of like, you know, the constant attacks on Windows machines. You know, the only reason they attacked Windows machines so much over Apple machines for the longest time is because Windows was the dominant operating system. And
makes sense.
It's just there's an uptake in it right now, and then there's lots of, I won't even go down to conspiracy theories. Bring this question to the tavern, and we'll have fun going down the massive conspiracy theories that go with this cybersecurity issues.
Will do.
There is a lot in the conspiracy realm that we could go into, but not here.
Hendian said, too many people with too much time on their hands and needing a side hustle to pay the rent.
Yeah.
So either hacking or OnlyFans. And it's easier than ever to buy hacking tools, so you don't need much skill anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, and of course people have been off work a lot. You know, a lot of people have had, as you say, a lot of free time because of the pandemic. So
Yeah.
you know, what better? That people have been honing their skills, I guess, and developing more tools to take it on. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Okay, the next two questions look like they're kind of tied together. So read those ones out. We'll close out the show for those listening on the podcast to hear the next two questions answers. You guys will have to come back to YouTube to watch them.
Okay, so on Tuesday, we lost a lot of the internet. This was due to the CDN supported by Fastly. It appears to have been a malfunction within their own system, and they solved it within an hour. Do you think this was due to the amount of people trying to access these sites nowadays with everyone being at home? Do you think that has anything to do with the issue? The next one is, I've noticed a lot of problems over the past few months with things on the net. Things like debit machines, my own internet at home. What's on my mind here is a mixture of too many people trying to use the internet at the same time, hackers attacking providers and causing the bandwidth to be taken up with fighting them rather than allowing it to supply to the customers. Am I on the right track with these thoughts?
Okay, well, I'm going to let my girl take us on out of here, enjoy my shot, and we'll come back and answer those 2 questions. On one.
Reminders for the show. All show notes can be found at wppluginsa2z.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the newsletter for more useful information delivered directly to your inbox. WP Plugins A to Z is a show that offers honest and unbiased reviews of plugins created by developers because you support the show. Help keep the show honest and unbiased by going to wppluginsa2z.com/donate and set the donation level that fits your budget. Help us make the show better for you by subscribing and reviewing the show at Stitcher Radio, Google Play, and in the iTunes Store. You can also leave us a review on our Facebook page using wppluginsa2z.com/Facebook. You can also watch the show live on YouTube, check out the screencasts and training videos, and remember to subscribe and hit the bell to get notifications of all new videos. Follow the show on Twitter at WPPluginsA2Z. John can also be reached at his website, johnoverall.com, or email him directly, john@wppro.ca. Thanks for joining us and have a great day.
Thanks for listening to the show. This show is copyright by johnoverall.com. So until next time, have yourselves a good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you happen to be out there on the globe today.
I do like that. All right. Let's see what we got here. Okay, first off, let me reread these questions here to clarify it up. On Tuesday, we lost a lot of the internet. This was due to CDNs, content delivery networks, supported by Fastly. It appears to have been a malfunction within their own systems as they solved it within an hour. Do you think due to the amount of people trying to access these sites these days has anything to do with the issues? That was a rough sentence.
I know.
I've noticed
Sorry.
a lot of problems over the last few months with things on the net. Things like debit machines, my own internet at home, what's on my mind. Here's a mixture of too many people trying to use the internet at the same time, hackers attacking the providers and causing bandwidth to be taken up, fighting them rather than allowing the supply to the customers. Am I on the right track with all of these thoughts? Okay, so these two do kind of tie together. And the loss on the internet, funny thing is, when that happened on the internet Tuesday, I didn't even notice.
Me either.
It's like it didn't hit me at all because I was working on my own machines, on my own servers, and I don't depend on content delivery networks to deliver my content, which is why I didn't notice it. But many people noticed it, and of course, major companies noticed it. It might have been a malfunction within their server. They're never going to admit, if they don't have to, they're not going to admit that they were hacked. I mean, no server company admits that they were hacked until they're forced to admit they're hacked.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah,
It makes sense, I guess, but I didn't think about that.
It's true. They were. I would bet that they were probably hacked, and they managed to get it plugged and fixed rather quickly, and they weren't actually slammed with a crypto virus. What the hell is it called? Encryption. They weren't slapped with an encryption virus. But anyway, it's the amount of people trying to access the websites. It could be. The amount of traffic does have an impact on it. I know in the early days of CDNs, there was always problems. There was always delivery problems. They'd be short-lived, but what would happen was you'd have too many people trying to access the content from the delivery networks, and it wouldn't show up on your site. It's part of the reason why, because I tried the CDNs in the beginning, and I didn't like how it was being delivered to my sites, and it just didn't save me any time. And over time, they built better and better networks for it. But as Hemdian mentioned way back, putting your eggs all in one basket like that can be dangerous. You got to have it in multiple baskets if you can. But that, ask the question, like I keep it all on my servers. So are my servers at risk? Well, of course they are. Everything connected to the internet's at risk. There's nothing on the internet that cannot be hacked. Everything on the internet can be hacked. It's just a matter of time and talent to get in there and get it done. The problems over the last few months on the net, I would say, yes, it's been a problem, but, we think that, okay, well, people are working from home now. Well, where were they working before? Were they connected to the internet before? They were connected for the most part. They were connected to the internet just as much. The one thing that has changed a lot in the last year is more video is being transmitted over the internet. And that could be a problem for the internet backbone. Because video,
more people are ordering things online, so that there's more people accessing the sites at all hours rather than once in a while.
Well, true. There's that problem too. I hadn't thought about that. They're accessing it more hours. But to me, I would say the video is the problem, because now we've gone from people meeting face to face in their offices to, a dozen people connecting via Zoom or whatever video software and transmitting video. That's a lot of video to being transmitted and processed across the internet.
Something else that just occurred to me when you said that is that's a lot of video on the internet, but also where people are working from, their internet, whatever, the thing that provides the internet for them isn't really set up to handle that kind of high traffic.
Yep.
It's set up to handle at-home traffic of what at-home traffic was a couple of years ago.
Yeah. Well, it's set up, okay, they're at home, okay, and most homes originally, when they built out, we'll take our cable company here, when they built out their network, initially they had really good up and down, but over time they realized that 90% of the people did not need to be uploading data. It was all downloading. So they tuned their networks for downloading data versus uploading data, which is why you get massive gigabytes of download speed and you don't get as much. I think my download speed is like 30 gigabytes, but my upload speed caps at 7. And it's like, and so what they've done, but now you've got video and everything else going on. Now you're maxing out the upload speed. So it could be a problem. I don't understand the networks to that extent, but that just seems like it could be a problem. So yeah, the past few months could be the backbone of the internet is overloaded with people working from home and video, overloaded with everybody shopping from home, overloaded with the hackers seeing a gold mine of personal data information, overloaded with the hackers who are busy inserting the programs to encrypt corporations' website and extract money out of them to get their data unencrypted. So there is a lot. There's a lot more going on, And what's interesting more than that is a lot of people don't realize is most of our data in the end, it runs through a few routers on the internet. I can't remember the number, but it's not a hell of a lot of routers in the end that eventually route everything on the internet. And it's all run by Cisco.
MDN had a couple things. He said, as I mentioned earlier, old routers give intermittently flaky internet access when they have too many devices on local Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
All those smart lights, smart switches, etc., can trigger that.
Yeah, there's that problem too.
And also, more people working at home means more people watching YouTube when they're supposed to be editing a document or whatever.
No, nobody does that. Nobody sits there and watches YouTube while doing video editing at the same time. I don't know anyone who does that.
So, Charlie, what are your thoughts?
Well, I've really sort of noticed that. I noticed a big difference when the lockdown came and everybody was going online, and then the company that I sort of work for, we're sort of hanging on at the moment. Everything is online, so even the staff now, they used to have to live very close to the offices. Now the office is basically closed down and they're selling off parts, and people can go and work from anywhere now. So of course that's going to put more strain. We used to have it here when about 4 o'clock, then things would slow down. So you knew that the internet would slow down a lot about 4, and then again about 11 o'clock. Probably because people are ordering pizza, I'm guessing. But 4 o'clock, but at 4 o'clock, it was when everybody came home approximately, and they would jump on the internet, and then the whole area would slow down. But I haven't noticed that. But if it is slowing down, then it must be quite considerable, because normally this time of the year, I don't know how it is over there, but when it's warm and sunny, the internet normally is at the best because everybody's outside and enjoying themselves, only using mobile devices, so they're not using as much bandwidth on the internet as they would be on their big devices.
Yep.
But I've not really noticed that. I've not really heard anything. And the outage, I didn't see anything. Was it just in North America, or was it?
It was worldwide.
All over?
It was a worldwide outage, and it was because of Fastly and their CDN network, and their CDN network provided content delivery for all kinds of major websites and major and minor websites. And I can't remember the list, but it was funny. It's like I didn't notice it either until I caught a tweet about it. I went, oh, the internet was out. Huh, fancy that. I guess I don't spend enough time on it. So at any rate, that pretty much wraps everything up. That's all we got for you. Thanks a lot for your input, Hemdian. Greatly appreciate it every time you show up and put some input in for us. It's always lots of fun.
Always appreciated.
Always lots of fun.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Charlie, for showing up to the show. Greatly appreciate it. Maybe you'll join us.
It was great to be here. It was. I'm not very good at, you wouldn't believe what my day job sort of thing is speaking with big groups of people. Mm-hmm. As soon as you put a microphone in front of me, I go to pieces. I start stuttering. I don't know why. I'd rather stand in front of 200 people and do a presentation than speak into a bit of plastic. It's incredible.
It's really odd. It seems a little more like you're talking to yourself sometimes. It took me a long time to get used to it. But 10 years of doing this, I've gotten more used to it.
I'm still getting used to it.
Amber is amazing. If you go back to you can go back to her first shows, and she was like a little mouse. You were like just coming in, like I feel. I feel like a little mouse. Yeah. But now it's like John can hardly get a word in edgeways some days.
Excellent. Glad to hear.
That's good, isn't it? That's a positive. Yeah.
It's getting better then.
That's my goal.
Yeah. Keep going.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thanks everyone for showing up. We're going to close out the YouTube version. Don't run away on me just yet, Charlie, but we'll just end the stream. So thanks everyone. We greatly appreciate it. Take care now. Oh, got to play us out on the Days of Thunder. Off we go.
These are the days of thunder.
Days of thunder.
We're going to make time stand still. A quarter after midnight, and I'm watching the wall. Sometimes I feel so uptight, I just can't sleep at all. Every day doing the same old thing, we're losing time. The weekend comes, we gotta have some fun and rewind. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. I feel the rope tightening, choking off our air. We need to grab some lightning. Friday's almost here. Caught in a web, we need to cut this thread we're hanging by. Where is it said you have to be half dead to survive? These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still.
Alrighty, that's all we got for you now. Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Adios, mofo.
All right.
That it?
We're out.
Done?